the show.
Hey everyone. Oh my gosh, we are so organically live. Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
So,
Hey, Auntie.
hey Ash. Okay. Thank you all for being here. We are live.
Yes.
We are live. We are live. We are welcome to Hey Auntie and Ash, where we are bridging generations, the
The
generation gap.
conversation. Yes.
Absolutely. So let me just make sure that we're good to go for going live on Instagram. I think we are. And we have a special guest because this is, again, welcome to Mental Health Awareness and Prevention Month. And tonight we have an amazing, wonderful
Yes,
special
we
guest.
do.
Ash, would you like to talk about any of her background or what we're going to be talking
Yes.
about or anything?
So this is my thing. I love it. I love it. I'm ready for Laura Tolosi. Okay. She is an integrative dietitian / non-diet weight loss coach. She has over 30 years of experience. She is helping women to release difficult weight and helping them to gain their confidence. And she does it through ditching that diet system, y'all. So we need to hear what Laura has to say because them
Girls,
diets they don't be dieting.
do we need to hear it?
We
So
need
we
to hear
are going to bring Laura up to the stage. Welcome her. Woo!
it.
Hey, Laura. Hello, hello,
Hi,
hello.
Laura.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
We are great, wonderful. I'm going to turn it over to Ash, and you two will be talking for a bit, and I'll just sit in the background here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Way to put the nieces on the spot. Okay. However, Laura, I'm so excited about this conversation because food is a thing for me. And I've been on diets since I was 12 years old. Okay. So I'm excited about this. So I have a couple of questions for you. Okay. One of my questions is what is the difference between, well, I'm going too fast. Can you tell us some things about you, Laura?
Sure. So, like you,
Mm-hmm.
I started dieting, at a very young age, 12, 14, doing the weight loss thing. And then, coming from a family where, food was a big deal, Italian American
Mm-hmm.
pastas and breads and all that kind of stuff. So always around it, always using food for celebrations, for everything. And so I always loved food. I did love cooking, which I'm thankful for that. That really, though, got me into really wanting to go to school for food. And basically, what happened was by luck, I took a nutrition class, and that really kind of changed my career, my path, because I found that I was able to use food as a way to nurture and support me versus as like, as a bad thing, as a guilty thing. So that was kind of like one of the big changers, on my career path was taking that nutrition course and then using the power of food to support and heal you, right? Versus like shame, guilt type of thing.
Yeah. So now, as we're moving from that, and so I don't think a lot of people know this, but can we define the difference, or as I would tell my students, compare and contrast the difference between a registered dietitian and an integrative dietitian?
Sure. So a registered dietitian goes through training like all dietitians, right? We have our education for years. We go through certain rotations. We all have to take a certain exam. So it's kind of like specializing, really. Like there are dietitians who will specialize, we'll say, in gut health,
Mm.
or eating disorders or whatever. So I use the term integrative because I'm actually really taking a holistic approach to
Mhm.
food and lifestyle and applying that. So it's food. Excuse me, food is your tool, but there's that whole lifestyle approach, mind, body, spiritual, all the good
Mhm.
supplements, blood work. So everything put together versus just, kind of like a conventional approach. So it's really a holistic approach. And so we're integrating all these different lifestyle pieces to support someone to their health, to their goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now let's get a little bit more to the nitty gritty. And what is the difference between a nutritionist, right, and an integrative dietitian?
So it's very interesting because I'll tell you right now, people will say, "Oh, you're a dietitian," and actually, we have a very bad rap because of our conventional training. And so that's
Okay.
why I did go outside of the box to look at different, alternatives and more holistic approaches. However, the dietitian, they have it's it's a coursework, right? It's all laid out like you're going to school, like any other degree or professional. They have their certain coursework laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Nutritionists, they also go through training. It's different. You can have different degrees. So there's something that's a clinical nutritionist or certified nutrition specialist. They go through a lot of training as well. It's just different than the dietitian. So depending on who you talk to, there'll be, like it's like who it's really kind of depends who you talk to. Like one is better than the other, or dietitians get a bad rap just because of the kind of like in the box conventional training like that they are put in, whereas a nutritionist, still people think of more of like a open, that they do look at things more in a um, more food, more holistic type of way. So it's just kind of the perception, I'm going to say. So I have
Okay.
met dietitians who are amazing. I've met nutritionists who are amazing. And then vice versa. I have met dietitians who just don't approach things the way I would.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the same thing with nutritionists. So it's kind of like, there's so many doctors. You go to 3 different doctors, you're going to get a for their different opinions, and they're each going to have their different approach, so it's very shades of gray as well. But you look at their experience, you look at their approaches, and so you kind of have to who are you more in alignment, who what is their philosophy. So that's kind
Yeah.
of how I would do it, the same way as I would approach a doctor, right? Like, are you in alignment with their approach, right? Their philosophies. So
Yeah.
it's really very,
Yeah.
very different.
Okay. And so we are here because we need to really see, right, the connection between food and our mental health, right?
Okay, Ash, before you dive in there, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I hope I wasn't making you all seasick with all the soloing you out. Then I'm here.
No.
I was playing around and I'm like, what is happening here? So I just wanted to chime in. And before we dive into the food and mood connection, and we will dive into that, we'll dive into some emotional metabolism. Laura has a wealth of information and we're so happy she's here. But Laura, before you dive into that, can you tell us, before we dive into the difference or the connection, can you tell us what role, or if there is a role that food plays with your mental health? I know we're going to talk about mood, but I mean your overall mental health. Can food cause depression? Can food cause anxiety? Can, those types of things? And then we can talk about just mood, just being in a good mood,
Yeah.
bad mood,
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. It's all interrelated. So 100% food is your foundation, right? We have to eat every day. So it's really foundational, and your choices and your overall health will absolutely 100% affect your mood. And so that's something that's really important. And coming from my background, it's really important at this to be like your first line of therapy in terms of, someone's coming in, right? And their mental health, whatever they're struggling. So let's take a look at the foundational piece, their diet, but also their lifestyle. And there's so many things that can relate to their diet as well as their lifestyle. And so one thing I'm just going to start with is we'll just talk about serotonin in relationship to food because it's an important piece. So serotonin, and I'm just going to talk about serotonin because I think it's the easiest one. It is like your feel good, right, neurotransmitter. And so where is serotonin produced? And this is really important to know. Serotonin is produced in our gut. So 95% of our serotonin is produced in our gastrointestinal tract. And I say this because if we're having problems with, anxiety, irritability, mood, you want to take a step back and assess what's going on. And the number one thing is you want to look at, not the number one, there's a lot, But in terms of a food part, what is the health of my gastrointestinal tract? And so how do we, what is the health of our, how do we know? Constipation, bloating, indigestion, those are all clues because our body is amazing, right? And when we tune into our body is giving us these signs saying, hello, I'm bloating, something, we need to change something, right? So it's just messages. We're not wrong. Our body isn't bad. It's giving us these messages. It's a gift. And so if there's something going on in our gut, chances are it's going to be affecting the production of our serotonin, our feel good mood hormone. So that's really, really important. So when I'm seeing a person, I'm assessing them from head to toe, but I'm always looking at the function of their GI tract because it affects so much of them. And that's why I really want to impress upon us, because we really want to look at our gut health, because our gut health is going to affect our brain, it's going to affect our moods. And that's really a really foundational thing to look at. If you're constipated, diarrhea, those are all things. Okay, body, let's figure this out. And there's a lot of reasons why our gut could be doing that, but I'm just talking about that in relationship to our mood, serotonin. The second thing that's really important that I want to talk about, gut health, is another important thing is sunlight. And so I know that's not the food piece, but it's important with serotonin and production of serotonin, because the sun stimulates the production of serotonin. And we have receptors on our skin, we have receptor in our eyes. And so when we go out into the sun, like think about it, you go out into the sun, you feel good, that warmth feels good, you get that boost in mood because our serotonin, it's part of that production, right? You go on vacation, you go away, we all want to go somewhere sunny, right? We don't want to go to like this dark, cold place. We want to go to sun because we feel good. But there's that connection, and we have receptors. So the sun is going to help produce serotonin. And so why do I say that? What do? We know what we're told the sun is bad. This is what we're told, right? Put your sunglasses on, and then listen. We have receptors in our eyes, and without our sunglasses, right? Without our glasses, so we need those receptors in our skin. What we cover up our skin, we slather, right? Because we don't really the sun. But I want to point that out because the sun is actually really, really very healing, and it's really important in relationship to feeling good and to your moods and to serotonin production. So those are really important things. There's so many things else. So let's talk about sugar, right? Only because this is a big thing. We eat if we have a high sugar, simple carbohydrates, we're going to get a rush of blood glucose. Our body is going to then produce a lot of insulin because our blood glucose needs to stay in a very stable, tightly controlled. It needs to be tightly controlled. And if we're eating a lot of simple carbohydrates, we're spiking our blood glucose. So, and I'm saying this because this is an important relationship to our mood. So when our blood sugars are up and down, and you can notice yourself, if you have let's say you're craving something, right? Lots of sugar, you eat all the sugar, then all of a sudden you crash. You're tired or you're irritable, right? You have low blood glucose, you're irritable, right? That's affecting your mood. And then you want to eat sugar again to bump it up. So it's the cycle goes up and down. Our body releases insulin. And our insulin, what it does is it's taking the blood glucose that's so high and it's lowering it. But because we have shot our blood glucose so high, we produce so much insulin to get it out that our blood glucose now goes low. So what happens is, so now what we do is we need to have more sugar to bring it up. And so our body, the cortisol, is like, all right, we need to get more glucose because it's too low now. And so now we have this cycle. So I say that because we need to balance our blood glucose and be aware that these simple carbohydrates, the empty carbohydrates are going to affect our mood. And that's the importance of it. It's not because we're bad or we're doing the wrong thing. It's just that it's going to have effect on our mood. And I think we probably have all been in that situation. Even when you notice that hangriness, right? You haven't eaten anything. Well, your blood sugar's low, right? So if we just kind of maintain it, that's an important piece. Protein. So I'm just kind of hitting the food piece. So now we need to make sure we're eating protein because protein has the building blocks of our neurotransmitters, right? The amino acids are the building blocks. And so if we're not eating enough protein, then we don't even have the building blocks for our neurotransmitters. So that's really important too. And then the last thing that I'm just going to talk about with food, because even though there's so much more, and I'm just trying to hit upon the importance of these, I think, because people can understand, the carbohydrate, the protein, and the fat piece. And that's why I want to share that is when we talk about fats, people are really scared to eat fat, or it's been a fat phobic thing. But fats are really, really important for our brain health, for for the health of our neurons. And so the cell wall structures of our brain are comprised, a majority is comprised of fat, right? Of this healthy fat. So if we don't have fat in our diet, where are we getting it? So we need that for communication. But then if we eat certain other fats, and I'm going to just there's something that's called partially hydrogenated. It goes into the cell structure and replaces the healthy fat. So if we're having a diet that's highly processed food, we're going to get more partially hydrogenated fats, because partially hydrogenated fats, they're used in food companies because it increases the shelf life. It's shelf stable. So it's used because it's keeping the food shelf stable, but it's affecting the actual integrity of the cell wall in your brain. And I share that because then, you're eating this, how food is affecting your mood just from the structure, because you need it to build the cell walls. And then there's certain fats, we'll call them, the big thing now is they call seed oils. That's like your corn oil and your soy and canola. Those are very inflammatory. Have the inflammatory process. So that's going to affect you as well. So what we're doing is we're imbalanced. It's just that we're imbalanced. Okay. And we just have to just kind of like tip the scale. You know what I mean? So we need to kind of like take a step back. And so what I do is when I work with a client, we'll like identify, like their eating habits and what is their body saying to them. And then we'll identify, okay, well, this is probably going to help you. Let's tip the scale this way so we can get more balance this way. Let's eat more healthy fats, or, because then those are more supportive of your brain and anti-inflammatory and things like that. But fats are so important for our brain as well. So I just wanted to hit upon those three categories. And then, within those categories, there's things you need to look at. But that's just kind of it overall. So yes, right, just so much of what you're eating can affect your mental health, just from serotonin production and blood glucose and moods. So 100%. And I don't think it's talked about or shared or known. I mean, I'm sure it's known, but it's not. Yeah. Listen, this is my thing, right? Like, yeah. So that's why, you know what I mean?
This is your passion. So of course you're informed. So for the viewers out there, first of all, I know this may come off as speaking, it might be, oh my gosh, these are too many technical terms. It's Friday night. Yeah. But guess what? You live with your body every day of every week, and you deal with those mood spikes and those mental health challenges out of the blue, seemingly not knowing the connection between what you ate and how you feel. Exactly. So that's why Laura's here. That's the whole point. Right. So if she has to get a little technical, so what?
Right.
We need to,
we need to be I go into the physiology a little, just because I just want to give that foundation of what's actually happening in your body.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm a thinker. So, but I'm speaking for those people who are like, oh my gosh, I've had a whole week. I don't want to hear any words over one syllable. But it's important because you can be informed. And when we have information, it empowers us so that we can make changes, right? We can course correct. So thank you, Laura, for that. I appreciate that. I wrote a few notes in the comments so that I could highlight some of the points you were making. So, Laura, what I'm trying to see, okay, so we have the technical correlation or connection between the mental and the physical and what we're eating, the food and the mental. So if I'm a potential client and I am what the doctors are calling obese, be it obese or morbidly obese, because obese could be you're 5 pounds overweight, but in the doctor's office. But If you have a potential client who comes in, what is the first thing you do with this client who is desiring or really interested in losing weight?
So the first thing I tell them, we have a conversation even before they like want to work with me. I share with them, I don't do diets. I'm really more of it in getting in touch with their body, more of an intuitive approach, and starting that way. So I say if you're looking to cut calories or count macros or anything like that, I don't do that. What I do is the very first step that I do with people is actually get them to listen to their body, which is so easy for everybody, and listen, are you hungry? Like, are we physically hungry? So it's that simple. That's all we're doing. And so I have them journal from a place of tapping into what is their body saying, what is the signals and signs my body is giving it, because we want to start using our body as our tuning fork, right? That's what we want to do, because no one else is in our body except us. Right. So no one from the outside is going to be telling us. We know what's best for our body, right? We can hear, but we know. And so I want them to use their body versus an app or something like that's outside of them. Use your body. And are you hungry? And then there's a hunger scale. So where are you on your hunger scale? Are you physically hungry? And this is just purely observation. Let's just observe. And then from there comes, okay, so if I'm eating when I'm not hungry, then that's the next step. But first step is, am I hungry? Am I eating? Or like, where am I physiologically in my body? And that's the very first step that I take everybody through. Okay. Because some people aren't even connected to that piece, right? It's the time of day they eat. You know what I mean? They come home, they eat. It's a pattern and it's a habit. That's why they're eating. It's not because of hunger. And so you need to observe that, and you just kind of step out and you observe it. Like good, bad, or indifferent. There's no judgment. You're just observation.
Okay, so that brings up a question for me. And Ash, I'm not going to bulldoze my way through all the questions here. You can stop me when you're ready. But it just brought up a good point for me, and a question that we have the expert on the line. Why not ask the question?
Right.
I have a huge problem with eating more than once a day. Huge problem. What would you say to me? Because every time I say something about, oh my gosh, I have a headache or something, the first thing my community asks, did you eat today? Have you eaten yet? You need to eat breakfast. And I'm like, I'm not hungry. Why am I going to eat if I'm not hungry? I don't understand. And I know, what was that that chart that we all had in school with the meals? You eat 3 meals, you have this and this meal. What's that chart called? I can't remember. It was
Food Guy Pyramid, or I don't know. That was
that's it.
Right?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's the 3 meals a day and your 2 snacks. I would lose my entire mind if I ate 5 times a day. I just could not do it.
No.
So what would you say to a person like me? Because the problem is, and I recognize it, I identify it, but it's working beyond this thing in my head that says, if you eat, you get fatter. So I've always been like that because I was raised around obese people. So
got it.
And I used to be very thin, not very thin, but I was thin. I was a tiny girl. And now, I had a back situation. That's a long story. But the point is, in my head, it connects. The connection is you eat, you gain weight, unless you're working off those calories.
Right. All right. So what I'm going to do with someone like you, and you're not alone. I'm just going to say you're not alone. Is again, listen to your body. Step back into your body, and believe it or not, when I see people, some people are just connected. They're not even making that connection between their thinking and their body. So let's get you back into that. I give you the hunger scale. If you're not hungry in the morning, I go with it. I'm going and listen to your body, right? So I don't do 3 meals a day and snacks. That's not my approach. I want you to listen to your hunger. So listen to your hunger. If you're not hungry, then don't eat, right? And so the other thing that I share with you, and this is a place that we work on, is, okay, so you're looking at food as in a negative way, right? You're looking at food that's making you fat. Right? That's what you're saying. But can you, I invite you to look at food as fuel and nourishing your body. And so can you make that switch, or can I support you to make that flip-flop in your head that food is actually fueling me? It's actually supporting me and nurturing me versus making me fat. So that's the invitation that we start with, and we start working it. I know it may seem easier said than done, but I know, because I've done it, that's what happens, and you make that switch. And so once you make that switch, then all that guilt and all that shame that comes when you eat things, it starts to basically, I'm going to say, fall away, because you're just in a totally different mindset. And that's another key piece that I work with. And that's
See,
important.
I would be a troubled client. I'm just like, because you'd say that to me and I'd say, yeah, that makes sense. That's so good. Make the transition between food being, this negative thing to fuel. However, why would I put gas in my car if it's not empty? I'm not hungry. Why am I eating?
Right.
So you would be like, you know what? You're not my client. Okay.
Oh, that's
You're not my type of client.
Oh my goodness. No, I like that type of client, because I'm like, we got this. We got it.
Right.
I'm a little difficult, but no, that is good though. Instead of this negative connotation associated with the food, that you can see it as fuel. And maybe I'll try that. I know, from our class, I live a lot in here. So it's a lot of analytical processing and talking back to myself. So I'll try that and see if that makes a difference, because I'm truly not hungry generally. I'm just not until about maybe 6 p.m. or 7. Then I start to, oh my gosh, I have to make dinner. I'm hungry. I need to eat, whatever, because anywho. So thank you for that. Ashley, do you have any questions for Laura?
So I don't know, because I had to go out and come back in.
I know.
So I don't know where we stopped at. Did we talk
we talked about the mood and the mental health, and now just the question that I just asked.
Okay. And so can you give us like some examples, or tell us what the difference is between emotional hunger, right? And versus physical hunger. What is the difference?
Yeah. So physical hunger, you'll eat when you eat food and you're physically hungry, you're going to eat the food and you're basically going to be satisfied. That's it. You're done. You're not going in the cabinet. You're not being like, I'm not satisfied. You don't keep going back. When you're eating out of emotional hunger, right? When you're eating emotionally, the food is not satisfying you. It's not satisfying you. You for more. There's more. That's when, like you keep getting up. You keep one of those, like you keep going in the cupboard and you're like trying to find something, and you just don't know what you want. It's not really the food that you're looking for. It's the emotional piece. And that's why I use the hunger scale, because this is how people identify, okay, I am not hungry. I am eating because of other reasons. And then that's when we go back into, okay, so what is the mood that you're feeling, that you're experiencing, that you're using food as a tool to, whatever you're doing with it, suppressing it, not facing it, whatever, right? Because we do that with food for sure.
Okay. And so I'm just going to give you an example. So say, for instance, I eat dinner, right? But that sugar craving is happening, right? It's happening. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what do I have? What do I have? Right. And I end up not just eating one cookie,
right,
but eating half of the row,
right,
and maybe the row turns into the pack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
What you like?
I hear you. I know, right? Believe me,
I have a love-hate relationship with food, so this is a real thing for me.
I know,
but I'm asking because I have been in those spaces before, right? Not currently, thank you, Lord, but I've been in those spaces before. So is that kind of what we're talking about?
100%, 100%, 100%, because that's, you're not hungry, right? You're looking for something else. What are you looking for? Maybe you're just looking for comfort at that
Mm-hmm.
point, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like wrapping you up like a blanket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what is that comfort that, and you don't even have to get into the why. Why do you need that comfort? But that's like the
Exactly.
emotion, that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or the safety that you're looking for, right? So like those are the things that, typically that we're looking for. Like it helps us to feel safe, right? So how can we feel safe without the food? And so
Right.
obviously that's going deeper, right?
Exactly.
But those are the things that you have to work on as well. Yeah. So that's definitely what's happening. And then what are the emotions that are coming up? And how can you then, how can you be in a place where your emotions are actually supporting and nourishing you? So
Mm-hmm.
how can you do that? So I like to also look at the tools that are needed to kind of actually bring up your baseline. So right, so we have, like, let's say, this baseline of how we are emotionally feeling, right? We can, maybe we'll be stressed all the time, or maybe we feel at peace all the time, right? So there's this
Mm-hmm.
kind of like range. How can our baseline be more at a peaceful place? I'll call it. It's more of a coherence, right? Heart
Mm-hmm.
coherence more often than not, because when we're at that place, right, we're in an emotionally more balanced place, more
Yeah.
coherent place, that we're actually not going to need to go and look for those cookies, because our emotional coherence, our heart coherence, is more of a balanced spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that affects us physiologically as well. So if we're always in a place of stressed
Stress.
out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of times, what's the other thing we're doing? It's also a stress reduction. Like, people use food to relieve their stress.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. They're doing to relieve stress. So I'm going to say the majority of women that I work with, they're all stressed. Whether they're single
Mm-hmm.
moms, because I have a lot of single moms, full-time workers, they're working full time. They have to come home. They're making a meal. They're driving their children around. Like, they're busy. They're busy. Maybe they're the sole provider as well, because that's what I'm working with. And how can we use tools to support them, that their stress isn't so heightened? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
so important. It's really, really important for weight as well, because cortisol, and I'm bringing this, segueing this really important piece, is cortisol, which is released when we're under chronic stress. Like, when we're under stress can be a good thing, right? The fight or flight thing is a good thing, because when we're in fight or flight, we're running away from, years ago, we were running away from the saber-toothed tiger, right? So we're running away. If a quick acute stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to get away. So when we need to get away, do we need to digest food? No, right?
No.
Because we're running away. And I put it this way because I feel like it's easy to understand. We don't need to digest or eat food, because we're running away from the tiger. Do we need to have babies when we're running away from the tiger?
No.
No, we don't, right? So then, right? So then the hormones that are responsible for fertility and stuff, those are going to be diminished, because that's not what we're doing right now. We're running away
Mm-hmm.
from the tiger. That's the
Right.
main point.
Mm-hmm.
But if it happens over and over and over, you're shutting down your digestion. And so what are you doing? You're shutting down your digestion. And again, I'm bringing this mood piece in. And when you shut your digestion down, as well as the neurochemicals, your serotonin, dopamine, when you're under stress constantly, are going down. So your mood's low, right? Your mood is low. You're not making serotonin because your digestion is not shut off completely, but that's not what you need to do. But this is what's happening chronically. And so I
Mm-hmm.
say we need to hit the stress part, because it's also affecting our mood, our overall mood. So that's just an important piece too. Is, so what tools can we use that bring up our moods, that it's not affecting us in such a negative, chronic way? So these tools, like, people talk about meditation and deep breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I use it's called heart math. So I use these tools to bring up our coherence, so our physiology is not always in fight or flight.
Yeah.
right? Our physiology, we want our physiology to be more towards supportive and nurturing body chemistry, hormones, whatever you want to call it. We don't want it to be depleting us. And when we're under stress, we're being depleted. And so you have to hit the stress part. You got to hit it. You need a tool.
Ooh.
You need a tool.
Oh,
So,
I'm,
Laura, you just mentioned the heart math. Can you dive in a little deeper into
yes.
what that is? What is the
Yeah.
heart math?
Yeah, heart math is a heart math system. I love it. It's another tool that I happen to, like you come across these tools, and I'm like, and it just felt like right to me and felt so logical. And so you build upon, like, the first step is just heart focused breathing, and so you just breathe into your heart, in and out of your heart. Simple, easy. You can do it with your eyes open and your eyes closed. And I'm doing this a lot more with my clients now because I just went through this training, and I'm like, God, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to raise our coherence, right? We need to do this because when you're raising your coherence, you're just kind of living your life fuller. Like you're just opening up so much. So heart focused breathing, and all you're doing is breathing in and out of your heart. So you can do this like I call it in the moment skill. In the moment, you're feeling stressed, you come home. Okay, let me just take a couple of deep breaths and just focusing them into my heart, right? And then the next thing you do to build upon that is you basically want to tap into an emotion of when you felt pleasure or gratitude, or you were proud, or you can think of a puppy or a baby, like when you have those like kind of like warm feelings. So you want to switch. So then you want to step into a feeling of like nurturing, and those are replenishing feelings that are going to affect your physiology in a positive way. So you want to, and so like whatever comes to your head, and even music, right? You know how music is pretty amazing, right? It affects our mood. Even if you like can tap into a music that's going to lift up your spirit and like really bring something that feels really, really good to you.
Yeah.
Then the next step is you want to take that feeling, and then you want to spread it to your body. So this is just a progression, but then you spread it to your body. And so you get all this feeling in your body, right? And these are like good feelings, and that's affecting your physiology, and it's just supporting you, and stress resilience, and cognition, and that's what it's doing, because our heart is sending messages to our brain. That there's a bigger system going from our heart to our brain, versus people think it's our thoughts, and then that affects our emotions. It's really our emotions are much greater impact on our thoughts, we think, versus the other way around. There's many more pathways going from our heart to our brain than the other way around. So if we start here, if we start in our heart, then we can, then it just kind of has that ripple effect. And it's a practice. I'm not saying that this is overnight. I don't say that. But if this is what you want, you can do it. Anyone can do it. It's easy. It's just, you just get up in the morning, and before you get out of bed, just focus on your heart. That's it. I know it's really that simple. It's just your decision. You just have to choose. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. This is even without touching the food piece, because the food is another layer, right? We got to do them both. But let's start, I want to start you wherever is the easiest, and whatever resonates with you first. That's where you got to go, because if it's not resonating with you, you're not going to do it. If I tell you, if I tell you, you got to start cooking every Sunday, all those meals, and you're like, I ain't doing that. Like, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're like, you know what, I think I can wake up every morning, and for 5 minutes, I can do that. So there's a lot of different tools. It's whatever resonating with you. This is my approach, right? We all have different approaches, but this is what I really feel into to support my people. Yeah.
So what I think I'm hearing, I'm sorry, Ash, did you want to go?
No, go ahead. I'll go after you.
What I think I'm hearing, because we're in a microwave society, and that's just the metaphor for how we want everything yesterday, right?
Yes.
Has to be fast, has to be quick, has to be. I'm not going to dive into the medication route or the surgical route and all these things of
Mhm.
losing weight. We know
Yeah.
that's a high ticket topic right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oprah just had a show
100%.
yesterday, right? With Weight Watchers and how Weight Watchers got it wrong, whatever. But we're not going to talk about that. What I think I hear you saying is that it doesn't start with the food or the overeating or the cravings. It's not starting there. It's starting in a deeper, more emotional place first.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds like, oh, duh, of course that's what she's saying. But I think I wanted to say that for the listener, for the viewer who is getting this, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's good. But is it really that deep? Maybe I just eat too much junk food. Maybe I just got to give up my craving of chips. But what I hear you saying, I want to reiterate this because I think this is such a vital and important conversation to have surrounding food and our relationship with food and what this food is doing for you. What is it? What's empty? What are you trying to supplement? Is it loneliness?
Yes.
The trauma, right? Because
Yes.
many individuals, especially Ash and I, are both sexual assault, sexual abuse survivors,
Mhm.
and incest and all these things. So often those survivors, not all the time, but often they have very bad relationships with food,
With food.
whether
Yeah.
it's starving themselves or
Yes.
purging or
Yep.
just eating too much. So,
Yeah.
it's I hear you saying it's deeper than the potato
Yes.
chips. It's deeper than the chocolate, right?
Yeah.
It's deeper than the soda. Like, what are you trying to fill?
Yes.
What void are you trying to fill, right?
Right.
Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. But, and I'm going to share that people don't realize that, right?
Mhm.
So, and that's that layered piece. And so we come in and we start with the physical, but then the layers, and then we start going a little deeper. And that's what I love. And that's what's, again, so important, because if you're not, well, in my experience, your results, this is why you're yo-yoing, right?
Mhm.
Because you're not
Mhm.
really getting to what's going on. And like, listen, you can just, you don't have to go back to the past. You just kind of can move forward and let go. Like, but it's a process, right?
Yeah.
But you have to, you have to be willing to go through with that. Or like, if this is like jazzing you up, like, beautiful. But many weight loss things or anything have to do with it. This is not a piece that they're looking at. And I feel, from my own personal opinion, that this is an important piece that isn't looked at. And you have to do both, right? It's this energetic piece. It's this emotional piece. It's both. It's not just one. It's both. And
Mhm.
like, it's like this orchestra. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's also, you were speaking about, your history, your past. It's that self-love piece, right? So, like,
Mhm.
like, and that's an important piece, right? That self-loathing and because
Yes.
most are
Yes.
coming from self-loathe, right? They're hating
Yes.
their self, hating their body
And
for whatever
shame.
reason,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? And so the
You're
food is
absolutely
like,
spot on.
so we need to love ourselves. So, like,
Yeah.
really, my goal is really to get women to love them as is,
Yes.
whatever their past may be. Like, you're
Mhm.
beautiful as is right now. And so if
Mhm.
you can just move forward and loving yourself right now, then all those other changes are like, make it just that much.
Yeah.
Coming from a different place. And that's really what I'm trying to support women, is just to come from that place versus like, you need to stop eating those cookies. You got no willpower. Like,
Yeah.
that's, no, no, it's not it. I've had conversations
Yeah.
with people and they're like, they just tell them to stop eating those cookies. And I'm like, okay, you have no clue. You really have no clue,
Right.
but that's okay. That's all right. That's not your thing. I get it.
Yeah.
And
That's not why
every
that's why you're not
Yeah.
working with these women.
time
Yeah.
you want a cookie, get on the treadmill instead.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So with me saying that, what role, and you tapped into this a little bit before, but what role does lifestyle play in our mood? And when I'm talking about, instead of eating the chips, go take a walk or go,
yeah.
what relationship or what role does it play?
It's a complete role, right? So so again, we're not dieting. We're working on, when I'm working with clients, we're changing their whole lifestyle, right? It's a whole comprehensive lifestyle approach. So I talked about sunlight. So that is a lifestyle thing. Like, and we talk about the heart math. So I invite you to go outside in the morning sun for 5 minutes. Can we combine that, right? How is that easy? Another thing, like I do this is like when we're getting ready in the morning, putting our makeup on or whatever we're doing. I like to do that. Can we look at ourselves? I've sent my clients this little, it's an I am beautiful meditation. Just listening to it while you're putting your makeup on. You're already doing that. You're already brushing your teeth. And listen, that's hard for some people to look at the mirror and saying, I am beautiful. But that's just another thing to practice, right? So that's a lifestyle thing, right? Getting out and walking. What's your sleep? So here's the thing. Serotonin is really helpful for sleep, relaxation as well. Right, here's your mood again. If you're not sleeping, that's something you need to address.
That's a real thing.
You're not losing.
That is a real thing.
And you're not losing weight if you're not sleeping because your
cortisol
is high.
God, yes. I was just telling my friend that. Like, I stopped going to the gym more to sleep. And then I started seeing more results the more I slept.
Yes.
Listen, I had, and Ash knows this, in 2021, I had a huge shakeup with a revisit from trauma and all the things. And it almost immediately grabbed my sleep. I've always struggled with sleep anyway and slept up since a little girl, but that's because of trauma and all the stuff. I am still fighting with that. But in that time between 2021 and today, I gained about 30 pounds. And I know it's due to highly in part to the sleep deprivation because of your cortisol levels are increased because you're not sleeping, right? Yeah. So I know that's where it came from. And I'm like, no, this has got to be reversed. My body can't take all this weight. Right? So, but I absolutely agree. And then menopause and all the things. So I even want to talk about that. You can keep going into or expounding on the lifestyle, but can you also, if you have any expertise or understanding on menopause and the different hormonal changes and how you can add things to your lifestyle to even combat that without the hormone replacement therapy, please.
Right. 100%. So everyone has their different approaches. So first of all, we have also gotten a bad rap, like we're going through menopause and like, this is the worst time of your life. It's miserable. So like, listen, so now think about our emotions. Like everyone's fear. Menopause sucks. You're miserable. You look like, like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. But look at that emotion that it comes packaged in. So we got to unpack that, right? I like to approach menopause as like, this is like freeing, right? This is a freeing time. Like there's changes that are happening that are actually, that we are able to actually step into and being more empowered as a woman, right? We're not even like, we're more empowered when we're at this stage. So very, very different from what the paradigm and what people want to put us in the box and think about menopause. Now, the thing I want to say about menopause is, how did you support yourself prior to menopause? What was your lifestyle is so much. What was your lifestyle before? Because that's going to help you transition into this stage of life a little bit more fluid, we'll say, if you were supporting a lifestyle in a way that feels good, brings joy, right, harmonious to you versus stress.
Exactly.
And I'm going to hit stress again because if we're approaching, so what happens is our hormones, the ovaries are not producing like the hormones, the sex hormones, the estrogen like it was. So what gland is taking over is our adrenal gland. So what also does our adrenal gland is responsible for? Our stress. So here we go. Now we got to work this gland. We're working it hard with cortisol, with stress. Now we're working it hard with menopause, right? So we need, let's go back. We need to support the stress response.
Yeah.
Like it just goes back to that, right? Because we need to support this adrenal, our adrenal glands. And if that's our stress, and if it's not, lots of B vitamins, lots of vitamin C. So then we go back to our foods again, right?
Yeah.
And when we're eating processed foods, guess what? There's no vitamin C or B vitamins
No.
because it's all denatured once it's processed. So it's just this interrelationship. And so it's really a whole comprehensive approach. It's just, and that's, when you're in menopause, you got to think about, you really need to look at that stress piece too, because of the switch of where the hormones are, taking over now.
Yeah. So, wait, we can't hear you.
You can hear me?
No,
no, that was me. Sorry.
Okay,
I was saying
no,
that I had my my mic off because I was typing. So that's good information,
Gotcha.
Laura. Thank you so much for that. Ash, you can go on,
So,
please.
no, it's like the more that you talk about stress and the more that I think about trauma, I'm like, oh my God, this is the overload of stress. How do we stop such things? Right. Because it's like, and I'm looking at, as we would affectionately call her, Auntie, and I'm approaching my 40s. I'm 3 years away from my 40s. And I'm like, they're gonna be me if I don't get the stress under control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my God! She just called me a cautionary tale. What is happening here?
No, but no. Not like that, but in a real way. Like in a real way. So then my question is this: what vitamins and what food, right, support the reduction of stress? Let's get there.
So, okay. So let's just go with some fruits, lots of fruits, right? Vitamin C rich fruits, right? Because we can get a lot of vitamin C. Whole, vegetables, leafy greens, like those are going to have all your cofactor minerals, your B vitamins. And so in a typical American diet, are we eating that stuff?
Not really,
Not
unless
really,
you're going
right?
to like the market and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Nuts and seeds. Those are going to be some really powerful, lots of nutrients, lots of cofactors packed in there for sure. So those are all, really the whole food, the closer that you get to that food to nature, the less denatured it is, it's going to support you. It's going to support you. But so you just look where you are, and if you can make, just add one fruit or one vegetable, like that's a beautiful change that you're making. And so here you are. Doesn't matter where you are now, what you did in your past. You can make whatever changes you need to achieve the health and the energy and get through, and master menopause, I'm going to call it. I don't want to call it menopause. I'm like, women who are in their wisdom years, right? Because I'm through the menopause crap. I don't want to even say that anymore. So women who are in their wisdom years, because it truly is, like wherever you are, our bodies are just really designed to really have, this amazing health. And just if we give it this environment through our emotions, through our moods, through our energy, right, through our food, then that's the fertile ground. So every little change you make is perfect. It's beautiful. It's never too late. So I don't, again, like my intention is to give people, just to empower, especially empower women, no matter where they are. It's never too late. It's never too late. You can make a change now. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. If it is your choice to have amazing health, to have energy, and to support your mood, you can do it no matter, I don't care how old you are, and even where your body is now, whatever pain you're in or whatever, because like you have that too, right? Those could all be changed. They can, but you have to make that choice to do it, right? You need to really want to do it. And that's why I can really, if that's the choice you make and you come to see me, or this is what we bring you through the journey to do it. So I don't want to think like, oh my gosh, I've been eating this way all my life. No, who cares? Who cares? Listen, I grew up on soda and cheese doodles and ice cream. Okay. I know, like you ask anyone in my family, like that was it. That was it. And quick. Okay. So, closet eater, I would go, everyone's sleeping. I'm going in the cupboard and I would get the quick powder okay, I'm like sharing
Oh
this here
my.
and eat that.
Wow.
You know, like, so I
Yeah.
Yeah.
did this. I did it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it doesn't matter what you
Hmm.
did. You just this is where you are. Beautiful. This is the time. This is your assignment now, right? This
Yeah.
is where you are now. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, Laura, I was typing in your contact information because we will end on that. You're, providing your contact in
Mm-hmm.
the banners. But before we get there,
Yeah.
did you cover the top 5 brain foods already?
So there's so many brain foods, but I'm gonna just talk about. I'll do like some that are so brain foods. Avocado. Avocado is
Mhm.
really really good. Good fat, good for the brain. Nuts and seeds, they're really really good too. Um, fruits, cherries. Those are like your berries. Those are really really good for your brain.
Mhm.
Did
Mhm.
I say chia seed? No, I didn't say chia seed.
No.
No.
Chia seed is really, really good for for brain health as well. What's the other one that I wanted to share? Coconut oil, fatty fish. Those are other little
Mm.
extra. Coconut oil is really, really good for our brain health, for moods, and so is like fatty fish, like
Okay.
salmon, mackerel, herring, anchovies. Those are really, really, really good too. So I'm gonna say, yeah, those are really good, and they're foods that are called fermented foods, like sauerkraut, or like put
Mhm.
sauerkraut on your hot dogs. That's actually a fermented food. It's actually good. They support the health of your gastrointestinal tract, and so
Mhm.
when you're supporting the health of your gastrointestinal tract, you're supporting your brain and your mood.
Mm.
So that's it. So yeah, coconut
I love
oil,
that.
Love
deep dark, leafy greens, nuts, avocado, cherries,
that. Hmm.
fermented foods.
Okay.
Yeah. And so so then the
Wonderful.
approach is like, let's add these foods. Add them. It's not like you're taking any away. Let's
Yeah.
let's try and add the food in. Let's try and
Yeah.
have an avocado every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let's have some fish once a week. This is the approach, not like, oh my God, I have to, suffer. Like,
I love
I
that.
love that approach, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Ash, 2 different generations, and we both love the approach. Anyway, that was
yeah.
my dig back. No, I love that approach. I know, as opposed to presenting it from a place of deficit and removal. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you can come from a place of abundance and add and include,
Yes.
and in the
Hmm.
process,
Yes.
you'll
Yeah.
stop probably some of those cravings, right?
Yes.
Some
Yeah.
of these,
100%.
fatty fishes and all these things, they will help you to realign your body and your metabolism and all
Correct.
the things, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's great. I love that. Can you, before we say bye to Laura, this
Mm-hmm.
has been amazing, first of all,
Yes.
can
Thank
you
you.
share with the viewers, the listeners, your mission? What is your mission? Why are you doing this? You sent your mission and I just fell in love with it.
So honestly, my mission, it truly is for women to really love themselves again,
Hmm.
really, and to fall back in love with them, no matter what size, no matter what they look like, just to love themselves and come from a place of love, and then make their choices from that place, a place of faith versus that fear place, like.
Hmm.
And then you just see your choices are so different when you're coming from a place of loving yourself. And I know it sounds, but
Mhm.
it's the truth.
No, it sounds beautiful. I love
you
that.
know.
Exactly.
And again, speaks to that leading from
Yeah.
a place of abundance as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to deficit, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
need,
Yeah.
I need, I need, I need to change this. I need to change that. I'm so awful at this. That self-deprecating language that
Yes.
sets us up for
Yes.
failure, as
Correct.
opposed to, again, leading from a place of abundance. I
Yeah.
love me. I love me in the state that I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm good
Yes.
enough today. Yes, I can always
Yes.
develop and get better, but I love
Yes.
myself in the state that I'm in today. I am
Exactly.
enough. I am more than enough. I
Yes.
can do this. I am capable. All of those things create more life and more faith and more abundance,
Hmm.
right? So I love that. Thank you. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
when I saw your mission, I was like, yes, this is my person. These are my people. Yeah. I know I'm dramatic, but whatever.
No. I love it.
Ash, do you have anything else before we share how the viewers can reach Laura?
I don't have anything else. Laura, thank you so much for coming. I say for coming with us, for coming on the
Yeah.
show and coming with us, right?
Yeah.
It was such great information, right?
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I'm thank you for having me here, for sharing this, and just for recognizing that it is important, and giving me the opportunity. Truly, thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. This
Truly,
has been
yeah.
amazing. And so much information. So for all of you who are listening, watching, please go back and rewatch if you missed a part of it.
Yeah.
Laura has dropped so many valuable nuggets that are not just tackling your obsession with food or sugar or whatever, caffeine.
Exactly.
It's getting to the heart of the matter.
Mhm.
Literally and figuratively,
Yeah.
right? It's getting to the heart of the matter, because if we keep chopping away at these leaves and these branches, the tree is still rooted. It's still going to grow. It will only replace those branches. So the more we're trying to, I got to give up this sugar fix and I have an addiction to sugar. That's nice. But where did that addiction come from? What's the origin? What's the root?
Right,
So I'm thankful that Laura has that approach where she's approaching and embracing her clients on a holistic approach. Ashley loves that term, right?
I do. And I try not to take up too much space because I am a geek for these types of things.
Yes.
And I do understand the food and wellness and emotional wellness, like peace. And so,
This was amazing.
Awesome.
We might ask you to come back later in the year, but
I would love to. Anything. I'm here for you. I'm of service for you, for your community. I'm here for your service.
We need her here when people start making those weight loss goals for January.
I'm here.
and January, and also I really don't want to get on. I don't want to get on my soapbox here. And anything we're doing to better ourselves is a good move, as long as it's not hurting anyone else. And also, Laura couldn't be here at a more apropos time when the conversation about all these medications is so popular, right? And as much as these medications, I'm not knocking it for anyone. If that's your path, do you. There's no shame here.
Nope, not at all.
And also, because I'm the yes and queen, yes, there's no shame, right? Do what makes you happy and makes you better and allows you to show up in your body and really and thrive in your body. Do that. And also remember the roots. Remember that, if you've had these habits that you've picked up because you were trying to silence the trauma, because you were silencing the pain or the loneliness, or if it was a distraction and you picked up these habits and yet now you have medication, what's going to happen when you stop the medication?
Exactly. You need to deal with that. Deal with whatever the emotional root is.
Right. 100%. You got to do both, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the importance of Laura. Laura, I love this. Thank you. I have had a blast with you. I'm more informed. I know that our audience is more informed. We appreciate you. And so if you all would like to keep in touch with Laura, find out how you can work with Laura, I have it on the screen and I'm going to just go back and forth here. You can contact her. What is this? Oh, this is her website. Sorry. Her website at lauratolosinutrition.com. And also you can find Laura on LinkedIn, of course, in LinkedIn at LinkedIn, Laura-Tolosi. And Laura is also on IG, Instagram, and that's at Laura Tolosi Nutrition again. And then here on Facebook, for you Facebook watchers, at Laura.Tolosi.71. Laura, anything else that you'd like to end with?
I just, when you're making decisions, I like to share that. Just come from a place from your heart, just making your decisions from your heart. And that's how you know that they're your true decision versus coming from a place of like fear and like this going with, being scared. So that's really kind of like how maybe to guide yourself, right? Let your heart lead.
Oh, I love that. Let your heart lead. Let your heart be the guide. And Laura, just an FYI, the other Laura from our speaking container, she commented in IG because we're live on IG under my profile. She said, "Hey, Laura." She said, "I just got on. Looking forward to watching the full interview. Let's go, love. Yes, yes, yes to all of this and all of y'all." That's awesome.
Yes, yeah.
So again, thank you, Laura. Don't be surprised if Ash or Ash, one of us, reach out to you later.
That's right. That's right.
Part 2.
Yep.
That's right.
Do it.
Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on all our platforms. And if you're confused about what those are, you can go into the comments. Ash, we don't even have to do that outro. They're all there.
Amen. God is good.
Don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube at Hey Auntie and Ash, the
Yes.
Facebook profiles, all those things. Follow Laura, and reach out to her for those conversations that you
Yes.
have. Even if you don't have a weight issue per se,
Mhm.
but your relationship to food is a little troubled, reach out to Laura. So
Yeah.
thank you again, Laura. Everyone
Thank
have a
you.
great weekend. Laura, if
Thank
you can
you.
hang around,
Yes.
I'm going to end the stream and we can just wrap up. Thanks,
100%,
everyone.
See
Ash.
you.
Ciao.
Bye.